It is no secret that I own a lot of books, and a lot of these books are unread. Now, I love having my own library and a good stack of TBR books, but when I take a deep dive into my shelves, I have books that are literally collecting dust. Books that I forgot I've even owned. Even books that could potentially be a 5-star favorite book of all time, but I haven't read it yet. Now, this series is not me going on a book buying ban. It's not me unhauling hundreds of books for the sake of shrinking my TBR pile. It is, however, giving the forgotten books a chance to become a favorite. Figuring out if certain books deserve to take up space on my shelves. I'll be using a TBR jar to select 5 books. And before the month is up, if any of the 5 books haven't been read, they must be unhauled. The end goal of this challenge is to have shelves crammed with favorite books. Books that I'll want to reread, share with my friends, or even to pass down to my children one day. So, I'm also giving myself the rule that if the book doesn't fit that criteria, it must also be unhauled. Now, in the end, ideally, I'd like my physical TBR to be able to fit on this cart. So we have some work to do. I started this challenge with 754 unread books. Welcome to my Bookshelf Ultimatum. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new episode of Bookshelf Ultimatum. Hey y'all, it's Beth, and today we're ready for some chaos. I'm ready for some 5-star reads. Please, oh please, be on my side this time. If you watched the last episode, you'll know that it wasn't that great. I think I only had one good read, I think. Did I? I don't remember. It's neither here nor there. It's a new episode. Let's get to pulling. I have my light on super bright because it has been raining for 87 years outside here in Texas, and I'm tired of it. I mean, I guess the good thing about that is that it lowers our electricity bill a little bit. Instead of 110 outside, it's maybe only 98, but nevertheless, I'm tired of it. So I have my ring light on super bright. It's bright like my future. Okay. Please, oh please, I'm begging you, please. And we have The Shadows. The Shadows. Sounds like a horror book, but nothing comes to mind, so give me a second. It is a horror book, and it is by Alex North. I don't know what this one is about. I've only read one other book by him. I want to say his newest, but I think it was his newest last year, so I don't know if he's came out with anything else. The Angel Maker, I think, and I wasn't super impressed. So I have been binging Supernatural, so maybe, and I've been enjoying. I am a chicken, okay? And there are some episodes where I have to watch it like this, I'm not gonna lie, but I've been enjoying it, okay? So maybe I'll enjoy this. They believed they could control their dreams. Instead, they created a nightmare. Okay, that's gonna be our first read. All right, book number 2. Let's go. Let's mix it up. Let's get us a romance. I'm just in the mood. I'm just in the mood for some romance. Some romantic things in my life. The Outsiders. It's not romance. I think it's like a classic. So I have the 50th anniversary edition. I'm pretty sure you've heard about this. A heroic story of friendship and belonging. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. That's kind of cool. That's what we're reading. As well, 2 books down. So far, I have high hopes. High hopes. High hopes. Off to the jar we go. Okay. You've been doing good so far. Don't let me down. Let me down gently, don't be scared. Alone with You in the Ether. Oh, what was that? Like a little squeal? I don't know. Stop judging me. I've been wanting to read this though. I've been wanting to read a book by this author and I haven't yet. And I probably own 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books by her. So it's probably time. And I do think this is on the romance side of things. A story of 2 broken people crashing together like comets. Glorious. I'm excited about that. Oh my gosh, this one is gonna be so good. Well, I say that. Let's not jinx myself. Pick number 4. Here we are. We have Blaze, which is a Stephen King book. There you have it. So here we are. This is one of his Richard Bachman titles. The last of the Richard Bachman novels recently recovered and published for the first time. Stephen King's dark half may have saved the best for last. Anyway, we're going to be reading Blaze. All right. Wow. Wow. I am very impressed by this lot of books. All right. We have one more to pick from. One more to pick. One more to draw. Give us a good one. I mean, we've got good ones. Keep going. I say, look, well, I don't want to jinx myself, so I'm not going to say Blind Side. Oh, this is a romance. And this is by Candy Steiner, and I believe this is a sports romance. You guys. Oh, I'm so excited about this stack of books. I'm so excited about this stack of books. I feel good vibes. Good vibes are coming from this stack of books. But before I dive in to the book that I'm gonna read first, let me tell you about a little giveaway. If you've watched my videos before, then you know that I'm a big fan of the Remontant candles, and Mo, the owner, has kindly reached out to me and asked if I wanted to help do a giveaway for you guys to win your very own Dark Academia candle. And let me just tell you, I have had 3 candles from the Remontant, and she never misses. The scents in these candles to die for. Literal chef's kiss. The Dark Academia candle itself has notes of cardamom, leather, and cedar. And let me tell you what, I have been burning this candle as I read, or also as I'm binge watching Supernatural, and it just sets the tone. And there's a wood wick that just gives that little crackling sound. They're perfect. Perfect. But not only will you be getting your own Dark Academia candle, you'll also be getting a $25 Barnes & Noble e-gift card. So you're getting a new candle and new books. Say less. So how do you enter the giveaway? First off, I want to say the giveaway is US only. So please keep that in mind when you're going to enter the giveaway. But all you have to do is head on over to Instagram. Make sure you're following my Instagram account as well as the Remontant's account. And then we're going to have a combined post that looks like this. You like that post and then tag 2 of your friends in the comments of that post, and you're entered for the giveaway. Now I'm going to leave all the information, the giveaway rules and stuff like that in my description box here down below, as well as links to our Instagram accounts if you need to go and follow those if you're not following them already. And may the odds be ever in your favor. Okay, I think I'm going to go with the shadows first. One, I'm just in a supernatural-esque type mood. I don't know if this has supernatural things in it, but I say that because I've been binging Supernatural. Did I already mention that in this video? And I'm just in the mood. So it says they believed they could control their dreams. Instead, they created a nightmare. You knew a teenager like Charlie Crabtree, a dark imagination, a sinister smile, always on the outside of the group. Some part of you suspected he might be capable of doing something awful. 25 years ago, Crabtree did just that, committing a murder so shocking that it attracted that strange kind of infamy that only exists on the darkest corners of the internet and has inspired more than one copycat. And it continues to go. It even continues on the back flap. I'm not going to continue reading. That's all I'm going to read from that. But this is what we're going to read. I'm going to actually listen to it via audio. We're going to get this thing started. And it's daytime right now. It's actually like 2 o'clock. So, you know, because I don't read horror at night. Let me get started and I'll catch you up when I know more. I caught my blanket up. I'll show you this. This is my book blanket. So if you're unfamiliar with what a book, let me hold it sideways. This is sideways, but you can kind of get how it's gonna look. Just, yeah. Okay, anyway, this is so far January through May. Now January and February, I barely read anything. And then we have March, April, and May. But if you're unfamiliar with what a book blanket is, it's a crochet blanket, and every time you finish a book, you add a row to your blanket. Now, some people correlate colors to genres. I'm correlating colors to star ratings. So for every pink row, that's a 5-star. For every blue row, that's a 4-star. 3 is orange, 2 is green. I don't really give 1 stars. Like, you'd really have to insult my mama in order for me to give you a 1 star. And I haven't read any 1 stars this year, but she's cute. So now that that's over, let's go ahead and talk about The Shadows by Alex North. First things first, I put a book down to make this video. So I started reading The Stand by Stephen King, and I'm on chapter 41, and I literally set that down today so I can film this video, okay? Because content may be content. And when I tell you this, the first book that I pick up for this video spoils a reveal in The Stand. I'm assuming it's not like the biggest reveal, but it's annoying. You know what I mean? Like, why do authors do that? And this is not the first time I have been spoiled by a book in another book. It's wild. Wild. But anyway, Alex North, don't do that again, bro. So also there was a little line. I haven't read his other book, The Whisper Man, is that what it's called? And in here, one of the towns, because it takes place in 2 towns, one of the towns, Featherbank, I'm assuming is where The Whisper Man takes place, because it mentions that case in this book. I would say that's so cool, but I haven't read The Whisper Man, so I don't know if it's whatever. Anyway, so in this book, we're following 2 people. Let's talk about Paul first, which is funny. First off, my husband's name is Paul, but also I have an uncle Paul. Paul Adams is my uncle, and the character in this book is also Paul Adams. Wild. When is first and last name the same? Anyway, so the character in this book, his name is Paul, and when he was 15 years old, he had a best friend, and then he had like a friend that was like a friend but not like a best friend, you know what I mean? That was like low-key kind of creepy and sinister, and you knew he could do evil things. But anyway, like that one friend that you know is going to grow up to be a serial killer or a pedophile, or you have those friends that you get that vibe from. Okay, ugh, I hope not, never mind. Anyway, a long time ago, 25 years ago, when he was 15, that creepy friend and another boy killed Paul's best friend, okay? 50 some odd stabs to his body, and then posed his body, and then put red handprints all over the place. Very extra, if you will. When this happened, Charlie disappears. 15 years old, gone. Nobody knows, because apparently they committed the murder and then took sleeping pills. And so when they woke up from this murder, Charlie was gone. So Paul, when he graduated high school, he's left town and he ain't been back. It's been 25 years and he's back. And he's back because his mother is ill with cancer, and she also has dementia, and she's not doing too well. So his mother keeps saying it's in the house, it's in the house, red hands in the house, there's red hands in the house. But he doesn't know if this is a lucid situation or not. He finds out that another murder, or actually multiple murders, but as of right now, another murder just happened that was a copycat of the murder situation that happened when he was kids. And the reason why he finds out that there's a bunch of them going on is his mom has kept all of these newspaper articles of all these murders of these copycats. Why are they copycatting? It's one of those things where they do this internet web page of the murder, and then it has this forum situation of people chatting in it, getting all this information. There's actual true in real life crimes, what is it called, Slender Man, that whole myth was on the internet and people were actually going out there and killing people, whatever. Anyway, it's that kind of thing. And so all these little kids are on this webpage talking to each other about this case and sleuthing around and talking about how Charlie is missing and blah, blah, blah. And they have this whole theory of what happened and whatever. I'm not going to go into that because it's not in the synopsis, so I don't think it's a spoiler, but it's not in the synopsis, so I'm not going to say it. Whatever. And one of the people that's chatting in this chat room, his username is CC666, and they think that that is Charlie in the chat room, right? But Charlie's been gone for 25 years. He disappeared when he was 15 years old. Anyway, then we have the perspective of Amanda, who is the detective that is on the case. And we've barely gotten any perspective from her at all, so I don't even know why she's here. Why is she at the party? Who invited her? I don't really know. It's boring. It's boring. It's I want to know what's going on, but at the same time, if, somebody were to come in here and rob me for this book and I haven't finished it yet, it wouldn't hurt my feelings, if that makes any sense. So just Oh, there you go. See, what had happened was I gave this book a chance. I genuinely did. I'll tell you, when I first started reading it and I got to like the 18% mark, I kind of was not enjoying it. And then I got to like the 30-something% mark and I still wasn't really enjoying it. But I was like, let me just give it a good whatever. I got to the 50% mark and I don't give a single shit about a single character in this book. And when I say I don't give a single shit, I am saying constipation level. I don't give a single shit about anything going on in this book. And there's like a lot going on in this book, but at the same time, nothing going on at all. It's one of those kind of books, and I'm not a fan. I do read horror, but a lot of the times I don't like it. You know what I mean? Not like, it just doesn't hit for me a lot of the times. I am very picky when it comes to horror books. This one just didn't hit the mark. It had such good potential until it started throwing random shit in here. It could have just been like the child murders and then the copycat murders, and then maybe if you wanted it to be horror, have the whole like demonic spirit haunting thing that's going on in this book happen. You did not have to throw in the extra creepy dolls. You did not have to throw in the lucid dreaming. There's just a lot of little things going on in here, and I'm just like, this is a little too convoluted for my liking, just too much, and I really don't care. That's me explaining the reason why I'm DNFing and unhauling this book. And let me say, I did read another Alex North book, The Angel Maker, and I did just go look on Goodreads to see like what I thought about that book, because right here, right now, I don't remember a single thing about that book. I don't remember a single thing. And my review says I did not really care for it, that there was too much going on, and there was also too many characters, and I'm gonna unhaul that one as well. So I'm gonna unhaul both of this and The Angel Maker. Not vibing, and I'm not gonna waste my time. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start the next book, which coincidentally enough is another horror book. I believe it is a haunting book. There's, I want to say, a ghost. Blaze is the story of Clayton Blasdell Jr., of the crimes committed against him and the crimes he commits, including his last, the kidnapping of a baby heir worth millions. Blaze has been a slow thinker since childhood, when his father threw him down the stairs and then threw him down again. After escaping an abusive institution for boys when he was a teenager, Blaze hooks up with George, a seasoned criminal who thinks he has all the answers. But then George is killed, and Blaze, though haunted by his partner, is on his own. He becomes one of the most sympathetic criminals in all of literature. It kind of is given Billy Summers vibes, but not the same thing as Billy Summers. I say that because Billy Summers is a crime book written by Stephen King. There is no ghost or hauntings or anything in that one, but it was very emotional, and he was a criminal, and it was just his last crime. But this one seems like it's gonna be different. But I loved Billy Summers. I tend to love the books that King writes that are more crime based. So I'm gonna start this one now, and we'll see how it goes while I work on another blanket. It's fine. Good morning. Let me tell you what, there is something about Stephen King that it's like I go into the story. There's no way I am going to connect with these characters that are old men trying to kidnap this baby, and then 80 pages into the book, I'm like, yeah, he's proved me wrong once again, because I read like 80 something pages of Blaze last night, and if I wasn't so tired, I definitely would have just finished binging the rest of the book, because he is such a good storyteller for me in my taste in books. I'm really enjoying the book. I'm not sick. If I'm like looking stuffy and whatever, it's because I wake up like this every day because I am allergic to him and I have to wait for my medicine to kick in every single day. I feel like out of all of the pets that I've had in my life, he has been the worst with my allergies, and I didn't know prior to getting him, which he suffers with allergies himself. We're all in this together. But I didn't know before I got Kaiser that pugs shed, like they have a double coat, kind of like a husky, and so they shed a lot. That's besides the point. Let's talk about Blaze really quick so I can go make my breakfast and get ready for my walk. This book follows a man who goes by Blaze. It starts out where he's getting ready to kidnap this baby that is part of this super rich family, like old money rich family. And he did have a partner, the person who came up with this idea, his partner in crime, quite literally. But 3 months ago, his partner was killed. But the book opens up with him talking to his partner, George, as if George were like an imaginary friend, because George would talk to him and he would talk back. Sometimes George was there, sometimes George was not. I'm not sure if it's a ghost or if it's kind of like a coping situation with Blaze, because Blaze, we do get flashback chapters of his childhood and he has been put through the ringer, let me tell you. When he was 3 years old, his mother was killed. She got hit by a car. Like shortly after that, when he was in kindergarten, he was a super smart child. He could already read, he could do math and all that kind of stuff. On the playground, instead of playing with other kids, he chose to read books and this, that, and the other. One day, it's like he forgot to pick up his toys, and so his dad was super mad at him. And his dad was already an abusive parent in general, but his dad was really mad at him, and so his dad carried him up a flight of stairs, threw him down the flight of stairs, not once, not twice, but 3 times, to the point where it put him in a coma. When he came out of the coma days later, he also has a permanent indent in his head, and now he doesn't know how to read, he doesn't know how to do math, he doesn't know a lot of just common sense things. It takes him a very long time to think about things or to like answer questions or to catch on to conversations, things like that. So now that he's an adult, George is there and he helps him along the way. So when the book first opens up, Blaze is going to steal a car and George is having to remind him, no, don't get that one because that one has bumper stickers on it. You want to be a little bit more incognito, just like little things. And I don't know if George is really like a ghost or if it's just like an internal monologue situation going on with Blaze. Not really sure. Anyway, so where I'm at in the story now, I'm like 80% into the book, and not 80%, wow, I'm like 80 pages into the book, and he's prepping to go kidnap this baby. And he's not planning on, because like when he goes to rob places, because that's how he gets his money, he goes to like convenience stores and rob places and stuff, he doesn't put any bullets in his guns, and he's like super nice to I don't know, he's just like not meant to be a criminal. He's just like a nice criminal. And anyway, so he's going to prepare to go kidnap this baby. So he went to this baby store very similar to Babies R Us or Bye Bye Baby, and he goes in there and he uses the money that he got from robbing a store to buy everything. He bought a crib, a bouncer, a walker, bottles, clothes, diapers, everything, so that way the baby is safe and has like all of his stuff while they wait for the ransom money. That's gonna be $1 million. It's wild. I feel like Stephen King is very hit or miss for people, and I feel like when he's a hit for people, he's really a hit, and I am definitely one of those people. And I don't know what it is, I just so enjoy his storytelling, and that's probably why they call him the ultimate storyteller. I am gonna go on a little walkie walk, which is why I'm in this sweater, because, well, if you're thinking like Beth, it is hotter than the devil's anal glands outside. Why in the world are you wearing a sweater? I don't sweat. I am not a sweater when I do activity, except like on my upper lip, and then like my scalp will sweat. But other than that, I'm not a big sweater. When I actually can make myself sweat when working out, it just helps motivate me to go further. I don't understand the science behind, there's no science. I don't understand the logic to it. I really don't. I do know there are other people that work out in sweaters, probably for the same reason. I don't really know. I mean, sweating does not equivalent to weight loss. Like, you do not have to sweat in order to lose weight, obviously. But it does help when you want to like sweat out some of the sodium that you ate for lunch. That's helpful. Cools your body off too. Anyway, this is not a fitness channel and you really don't care. But before I go and get on my treadmill, I thought I would go ahead and update you on Blaze by Stephen King. So this book was actually written in, I was gonna say in the 1700s. Could you imagine? This book was actually written in the 70s. It was back when he was just writing under the name Richard Bachman and was submitting stories for magazines. And I think this was the 5th and final, I could be wrong, but the 5th and final Richard Bachman book. And then this was archived, right? So then fast forward many years and many books later, 2006, 2007, somewhere around there, after he had wrote Colorado Kid, which was his first like hard case crime book, he was inspired to pull this story back out and kind of fluff it up a little bit and then republish it. And that's exactly what he did. Now, this is one of the Stephen King books, because there are a few that I don't ever hear anyone talk about. And I feel like I wind up enjoying those a lot, because maybe it's like your expectations aren't too high because it's like one of the ones that is never talked about compared to like Salem's Lot or Pet Sematary, It, Misery, things like that, which I do love those books, but this was also a good book. I would not say this is a horror book. It's maybe a thriller. It's not explained, but I don't think the friend George, I don't think he was a ghost. So this is more of like a thriller book, I would say, or like a crime book, whatever. In this book, I was anxious a lot. There were times where I was like, you better hurry the hell up and get back to that baby. Because in this book, I talked about it earlier in the video, I believe, is mainly about this man named Blaze who's kidnapping a baby for ransom because he needs money. He kidnaps the baby towards the beginning of the book, but he would constantly leave the baby at home by itself. And I was stressed out. I was like, bro, you need to get home before that baby wakes up. And because he like leaves the baby bundled up in front of a fire because it's like really cold outside. It's a winter storm. There's no electricity. And leaves. And I'm like, that baby is 7 months old. That baby can crawl. That baby can easily crawl straight up to that fire, bruh. What are you doing? There was a scene where the baby actually got hurt because he left the baby in a cradle and left for hours. And I'm just like, George cannot watch your baby because George is not real. What are you doing? What are you doing? I was definitely highly stressed out in a lot of sections of these books because I was like, and then it was every other chapter, so it'd be like a chapter in the present time where he's like doing the whole kidnapping the baby and whatever, and then there's a chapter of his past, and it would, in the past chapters kind of go into timeline where it starts when he's a little kid. You get to learn like how his mom died, how his dad abused him, how he wound up in like an orphanage, and then how he wound up in different places and going back to the orphanage and to a different foster home and going back to the orphanage, and all these horrible things that happened to him leading all the way up until he meets his friend George. Yeah, it kind of connects with the whatever. Anyway, I really enjoyed this. This was such, it's not like a masterpiece. It's not like up there with It or 11/22/63 or, you know, those, but this is better than a handful of other Stephen King books that I read. Recommend. I'm giving it 4. In between 4.5. On Goodreads, it's gonna say 4. And I'm really glad that I read this book. So there's my review. So when I'm done with my workout, I might pick this one up. This is The Outsiders. I've been wanting to oh, what are this? The Outsiders 50th Anniversary Edition. Turn the page to see material from the publisher's archives, photos from the author's personal collection, and messages from the cast. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's like letters and stuff. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna see if I can get this one on audio so I can listen to this while I cook dinner and stuff. And this is only 180 pages. I know nothing about this. Stay gold. A heroic story of friendship and belonging. Okay, anyway, I think I'm gonna do this. If I do, I'll catch up later about it, whatever. Let me show you this Lego thing that my husband put together. I'm gonna just turn you around like this. So professional. There's my ring light. It is the sorting hat, and it is a Lego set. Doesn't it look kind of creepy? But look, let me move this light so I don't break it. But watch, it does this.
Clearly, you belong in Slytherin.
And there's like 30 some odd sayings that he does. My husband put that together this weekend. He put together 4 different Lego sets. He found his new hobby. Anyway, okay, I gotta go. Good morning. Let me tell you what. It's the next day. Did I read anything yesterday after updating you? Absolutely, I did not. I maybe watched 8 episodes of Supernatural. It's fine. The thing is I don't think I'm going into a reading slump in the sense that I just don't want to read right now. It's that I found something else that I want to prioritize ahead of reading, and it's a TV show. You know, and this is very rare for me. I'm not a big TV person, which is why this is the first time ever that I have watched Supernatural. But when I get onto something, I really focus. I hyper focus. It's like my entire personality for the next few weeks. I'm gonna be a fucking ghost hunter. Okay? Yeah, I might have watched a little bit too hard yesterday because I didn't go to bed till like 1 o'clock in the morning and I scared myself. So that was fun. So maybe today I won't watch anything and we'll get through some of these books. Okay? Okay, so here is the plan, Stan. I'm about to go outside with the kiddos, enjoy us a nice popsicle, some vitamin D. We're gonna be, you know, right up front on the mosquito buffet, but it's gonna be okay. It's been raining for literally 87 years, and today we don't have rain. We're gonna enjoy the humidity instead, the wet air. It's gonna be fun. While we're doing that, though, I'm going to go ahead and pick up The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton because this is up next on the docket. It's 180 pages. I can get through it quickly. We're going to have a good time. I was looking at this on Goodreads and so many of my friends love this book. So I'm truly hoping that I do enjoy it. If not, I'm gonna make an exception to my rule and I'm not unhauling this one simply because there's a chance that maybe one day one of my kids will have this as assigned reading if I already have a copy of it, a very nice copy, bonus, you know what I mean? Or this is a classic and I think that there is a potential that one day one of my kids would want to read it. That being said, whether or not I enjoy it, I'm not going to be unhauling this copy. Let's go read the book. You know how you can tell this book was not written in this decade? Let me just tell you, these guys, okay? These guys, these 14-year-old kids, at least Pony Boy is 14. The other ones might be a little older because Pony Boy, that's his legit name, like on his birth certificate, is in high school, but he was bumped up a grade or so because he's smart. So listen here, Linda. Him and his friend are on like this little date with these 2 girls that are part of the socials. Socias, actually, I think is what to say, which is short for social, so I guess, whatever. Anyway, so they're part of the socias, which is like the rich people, the rich kids in school or whatever, and Pony Boy and his friend are part of the Greasers, which in my brain, I wasn't born in the 60s, I wasn't around in the 60s, but in my brain, the Greasers are like equivalent to the guys from the movie Grease. The guys that are supposed to be high schoolers in the movie Grease, but they literally look like 40-year-old men. You know what I mean? Those guys, that's what he's... Anyway, I digress. He's on a date with these 2 girls that are part of the socias, and they're leaving the movie theater and are like, we realize you don't have a ride home. Do you want us to walk you home? It's only 20 miles. It's only 20 miles, babe. I am not a fast walker, okay? Or maybe, I don't know. I walk on a treadmill and I walk like a mile in 18 minutes. I am a pretty slow walker. And I Googled it and it said the average person walks like 3 to 4 miles per hour. So I guess I'm below average. But the thing is, it would take me like 6 hours just to walk you home and then 6 hours to get my ass back. That's a 12-hour shift. 20 miles. Let's see. Hang on a second. Hey Siri, how long would it take someone to walk 20 miles?
Here's what I found.
So 20 miles is approximately 5 to 7 hours without factoring in breaks. Were they on crack cocaine back in the day? Like, are you really gonna walk your girlfriend home? They're not even girlfriend, boyfriend. They just met and went to go watch a movie together. 20 miles. What? I have officially read The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. You ever read something and you're like, wow, I can be in the know now. Like when I read The Hobbit, it like opened my eyes. I could understand. I can understand things that people were talking about that series, whatever. It's similar to this. So now I know what Stay Gold Pony Boy means and like where it came from and da-da-da-da-da-da. I can now watch the movie because the movie, the one that I'm talking about with Patrick Swayze and like a few other really popular actors are in it. I can finally watch that now. And yeah, so before I dive into my rating and whatnot for this book. I'm just gonna tell you what it kind of is about. Because I knew nothing going into this, so there probably is some people out there that know nothing about this book, but a lot of you probably already know what's going on because this is a classic and a lot of people read this for class. In this book, we are in the perspective of this 14-year-old boy named Pony Boy. Like, that is his actual name. I feel like I got a hair on my face. 6 months ago, Pony Boy's parents were killed in a car accident. And so he is now currently living, him and his little brother's name is Soda Pop. So we have Pony Boy and Soda Pop, and they live with their older brother. His name is Darren. They call him Derry sometimes. I think it's Darren. Anyway, it doesn't matter. These three boys they were raised on the wrong side of the tracks, if you catch my drift. They call themselves greasers. They kind of have this rival with the rich, popular boy gang, and they call themselves the Socias. Yeah, one night, Johnny, who is Pony Boy's friend, him and Pony Boy were walking. A group of boys, part of the socials, were jumping them, and essentially Pony Boy almost died because he was being drowned underwater by one of the socias, and so Johnny stabbed him and killed him. Johnny and Pony Boy ran off for a few days to hide because they knew that they were going to be wanted for murder, this, that, and the other. Then they were turned into heroes because of something that happened. The Socias were not having it though. They were like, no, when they came back to town, they were like, no, you killed so-and-so. We're about to have this big old brawl. It's just kind of like a battle between them. We have Pony Boy who learns some very heartbreaking lessons. It's like one of those. Okay, there's a letter at the front of this book from the author, and she said she wrote this book, I believe, when she herself was a teenager. Yeah, she wrote this book when she was 15 years old, and she said she wanted a book that she could relate to because at the time there were hardly any books that she could relate to as a teenager. I read that and I was like, oh, okay. So then I started reading the book. There's no I mean, maybe there's like an underlying message that I can relate to, but I don't relate to being in a gang or murdering someone. There's a lot of things in here. I mean, I can relate to having dead parents, but I don't think that was the point the author was trying to get across. But I do think, had I read this as a teen, maybe I could have felt like I could relate being an outsider in the world and whatever. I don't really know, but it would have been fun to discuss this book with like my peers and really dive into everything and figure out why the carpet was green. There's got to be some, you know what I mean? Like one of those kind of deals. I'm giving the book 4 stars because like I see it for what it is, or I think I see it for what it is. I don't know. I don't hate the book. I didn't dislike the book, but it's not a favorite. I kind of battled with it being like a 3-star or a 4-star. I put it at a 3-star at first, but then it just kind of felt wrong. It felt like more than, I could take this out, more than a 3-star. So I'm just gonna stick it at a 4-star. It's probably more like a 3.5, 3.75. I don't know. I feel really bad saying that because it is a classic. But you know what? Not all classics are made for everyone, babe. I did enjoy it. It's not a favorite book or anything like that. It'll probably be a book that I'll think about here and there just because it is very sad and I don't know, honestly. Anyway, so book 3 is done. We have 2 more books. So we have The Blind Side, which I think is a sports romance by Candy Steiner. I think this is fake dating. Clay Johnson is the hottest safety in the nation and my new fake boyfriend. So this is fake dating. And then I also have Alone with You in the Ether, a love story by Olivia Blake. So this is going to be a nice little breath of fresh air. The past 2 books were both kind of sad, so this is gonna be nice. Not sad enough to make me cry though. They didn't pass that test, and I feel like I am a pretty sensitive kind of person. Okay, I keep thinking that's a roach on the back, but it's not a roach. It's a bee, I think. So I think I'm gonna start this book. So I started Blindside last night, and I'm a little over halfway into this book. It is new adult. I probably should read synopsis. You know, I probably should do my homework and stop just buying the book because I see somebody raving about it on TikTok. I'm pretty sure I saw a TikTok of this book And then I was scrolling through the comments and everybody in the comments was agreeing with how amazing this book was. It probably was a random book talk that I came across, and I probably should have looked at their taste in books because I'm pretty sure they may have good taste. It just doesn't align with my taste, okay? Okay, so they're in college. And this guy, I think his name is Clay, is supposedly the hottest like football safety in the nation, like college-wise. I don't know who like decided on this. I feel like that's kind of weird to say, but so he has had the same girlfriend since high school. I think they've been dating for like 5 years. She's just now coming to the college and she decides she's ready to go and be like herself. She doesn't want to be in a relationship right now. She wants to find herself, you know, see what's going on, see what else is out there. And so she breaks up with him and he is truly, truly heartbroken because he thought she was it for him, okay? Yeah, so then we have this girl named Gianna, and she has a crush on this guitar player. I think he's a singer, and he sings at these little bars and stuff. Anyway, she has a little crush on him, okay? And she doesn't think that he notices her because she's not like other girls. She dresses different, she reads romance books, like she's not like other girls. I digress. So her, and she's also like, I forget the title, but she works for the press for this certain football team. So she sees Clay all the time because she like gets him to do interviews and podcasts and stuff. Like she's like their press organizer, whatever person. I don't know. Don't ask me what titles are. Okay? So they strike up this deal. They're like, how about we fake date so your ex-girlfriend will get jealous of you because you're in a new loving relationship, and then you can pretend to be like this guy that I'm dating that's not good to me, so that one, I can get attention from this musician that I like because you're the most popular guy in the nation, essentially. And so if he sees you dating me, maybe he'll be interested in me. That's really fucked up, but okay. And so they do this fake dating situation. But then there's also like this other thing. She's a virgin. She has never had like a true, real boyfriend, a true, like real kiss. Like she's had like that 5th grade kiss, but not like it, you know what I mean? So she's like, I want you to me. I want you to be my first. I want you to teach me. I feel like the whole fake dating thing and the teach me how to should be in 2 different books, okay? Because I've read a few fake dating books where they're the entire time. They're fake dating. So the angst is gone. The buildup is gone. Like, what else do we have to look forward to besides the mediocre, I'm sure, ending of the book? I don't really know, but listen, I love when fake dating books, they hate each other, but they fake date. You know what I mean? Like the Love Hypothesis, that type of situation. And don't come at me if you hate that book. I don't care. I like that book, which I will say, I'm not 100% keen on smut all the time, but this book, it's nice. So weird to say. This has got to be the most stupidest 3rd act breakup of my life. I forget why I don't like new adult books until I read them. And I'm like, what? Stop it right now. It's like you saw it from a mile away. I saw it from a mile away. So you probably saw it from a mile away. But the thing is, it was just so cliche. It was like, this is literally what we're doing right now. Literally. No. I finished the book. I read the entire thing on my Kindle, so why did I even buy this copy? I don't know. But hear me out. I also had fish sticks for lunch, and I haven't had fish sticks for lunch since I was a kid, and I'm telling you what, I've been missing out. I need to add these to my staple grocery list. I've got my daughter hooked on them now too. They're a good source of protein, don't come at me. But hear me out. I finished this book, and where art thou, depth? And then that ending, Sir, that grand gesture, I cannot stand grand gestures, okay? I cannot stand anything done, but I would be so fucking embarrassed. That grand gesture was like 90s rom-com cheesy times 10, like not even in the good way. No, sir. Yeah. Also, there was a pet name in the book, and it was Kitten, which was kind of weird. I don't know. It was weird to me. And then like the safe word was for her to meow. Extra cringe. I love a safe word, and I love that he gave her a safe word, but let's not throw in a cat meow. Let me raise you up because my back is too old to be leaning down like this. Okay. All in all, I'm giving this book 3 stars. I think it was entertaining. I think it was very new adult. So it is a new adult book. It read like a new adult book. There was no depth to this book. There was also things brought up in this book that were never really like settled. And I understand this is a series, so we'll probably see it settled later on in the series. I'm not continuing this series. I'm also not going to read the first book because this is the second book. I'm just not a fan of new adult. In this series that I'm filming, this Bookshelf Ultimatum series, I feel like I am discovering a lot of things that I truly just do not like in books. And new adult books, new adult in general, like characters that are still growing, you know, their brain isn't even fully developed. Not my favorite thing when it comes to romance, when it comes to conflict. Now, you give it to me in like a fantasy book, sure, I'm all about that, but I just don't like it in my romance books. Now, on a positive note, I will say if you are a fan of new adult books, I do think this book is going to be for you. I do think this was a good new adult book. I just think I was not the right audience for this book, if that makes sense, because I honestly really love when a romance book is emotional and there's a lot of depth to it, and that they hold off on the until at least 50% into the book, okay? If this book was fake dating and they weren't, like, he wasn't teaching her how to please him or teaching her how to do this and how, like, I feel like it would have been so much better because we would have had all of this angst and this tension and stuff between the characters versus we didn't have that because they just jumped right on into it, you know what I'm saying? But those scenes were pretty good. Okay, and he also, because Girly Pop is a reader, and she has her own little bookshelf. She's a smut reader, which, I mean, she would probably be reading this book. Okay, he went onto her bookshelf and he read her annotations and where she highlighted in her books to learn what she enjoys when it comes to that, so he can then do it to her, talk like that to her. I like that, but it felt very like added in at the last minute because it was briefly just talked about and then they, you know what I mean? I felt like I wanted more of a reader in here. Like, it talked about her being a reader, but I wanted to feel like she was more, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like that was added in at last minute, if that makes sense. But I still enjoy, it also could be because I have read another book, I think it's called like Talk Bookish to Me, where he also reads her favorite books to learn what to do when they're doing the diddly daddly diddly pop, and I felt like that was done a little bit better, but that was more of adult. I don't know, girl, I don't know. Okay, but the ultimate question is, am I going to keep this book? It's hard because I did enjoy some parts. I feel like it's literally on the border. If like there was a little timeline, what do you call the little lines with the little numbers, whatever, and anything above 3 I keep, anything below 3 I get rid of. This is not a 3.2. This is not a 2.9. This is literally smack dab 3-star. Like, I enjoyed it, but it could have been better for me, just for personal preferences. So do I keep it and maybe like give it another go later on down the line? Or I think I might post it up on my Pango books, and if somebody buys it, then that's just going to be the sign that I don't need the book. And if somebody doesn't, because like normally I bring my books to Half Price Books and I probably get like a quarter for the book. It's brand new. I literally didn't read this book. I read it on my Kindle. I don't know, we'll see. If somebody buys it off my Pango books, then that's a sign from the heavens that it's not a book for me. Why do I want to keep it? I don't know, I just want to keep it. We got one more book to read, and that is Alone with You in the Ether. It's pretty short. I'm hoping I can get into this and we can get going, but I'm also very nervous because I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not in the mood to read right now. I'm literally not. I really want to just sit down and watch TV or jam out to some music. I don't know. So we'll see. I'm going to dive into this, try to dive into this, and I would check back in with you later. Also, I'm starting 75 soft tomorrow. So it's like 75 hard, but instead of the 2 workouts, I'm just going to do 1. So that's what those post-it notes are. So the door is no longer blank. You know, my moniker closet. I don't. Anyway, okay. Okay, girl. That was fucking cringe. Look what I just got in the mail. Yeah, Tangled Up in You by Christina Lauren. I will tell you, they're very hit or miss for me, but I have high hopes for this one, and this cover's super duper cute. Let me turn on my light because I have an update for you. An update that you're not gonna want to hear. You're not gonna want to hear this. Is it too bright? Oh yeah, it's too bright. Okay, friends, here's the dealio. I maybe got through like 10 pages of this book. And the thing is like, I'm gonna move you again. I am just not, I'm not in the mood for this. I've been looking forward to this book for a while, but I've been waiting to read it. You know, like when you have high expectations for a book, you keep putting that book off. That's this book for me. And I feel like if I force myself to get into this and read it, I'm not gonna enjoy it if I wait. You know, do you know what I'm talking about? Because I don't know what I'm talking about. So here's the thing. Plot twist. This is the 4th episode, right? I haven't given myself a free pass. I haven't like done anything. I felt like I've been doing so good with this that I'm about to make a new rule. This is not going to be a rule that I'm going to use often, but for this, I'm giving myself a pass. But what I'm going to do is, I was like, but it's not fair. Because it's like an ultimatum. You have to get rid of the book if you don't read it. It's not the end of the month. But I'm just not, I can tell you right now, I'm not in the mood. I'm in very much, you know, I want to sit down and I want to binge watch Supernatural. I've put it off for a couple of days because I've been reading and I'm ready. And I just don't have the brain power for this book. Right. Anyway, so here's the dealio. You can be mad at me if you want, but I'm going to give myself a pass on this book. Simply because I've literally, I don't want to force myself to read this because I feel like I'm going to love this, but I'm not in the mindset right now to whatever. I hope you get it. If you're a reader, I'm pretty sure you get it. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do is, I'm not unhauling it, but I'm not reading it. So to take its place, I'm going to pick another book off my shelves that I have not read to unhaul in order for me to keep that one. That's what we're gonna do. So give me just a minute. I'm gonna go through my shelves and I'm gonna find something to take its place to unhaul. I feel like that's fair. You feel like that's fair? I feel like that's fair. Because I'm just not. Like, I really want to love that book. And I know that because I'm not in a reading mood right now, I'm not gonna love it. I'll be right back. I actually found 2 books that I have not read that I'm gonna go ahead and unhaul in order to keep that book. So it's still gonna make a dent on my TBR number. You know what I mean? Like, it's still, you know what I mean? It's gonna, yeah, okay. I'm gonna get rid of these 2 books by J.D. Robb. I've been holding on to them because I'm like, I do want to read this series. But at the same time, these are like book number, I don't even know, 56, 57. Like, this is a very long series. If I were to read this series, I would probably read it on my Kindle or get the audio versions because I don't think I would be buying 50 some odd books to complete, you know what I mean? I think these are the 2 newest installments. So this is Random in Death and this is Payback in Death. I think I'm going to get rid of these 2 in order to keep that one. I feel like that's fair. If you don't feel like that's fair, I'm sorry. I feel bad, but at the same time, like, can I just have a free pass? I feel like I deserve it. I feel like that's what we're gonna do. So let's do a quick little wrap it on up situation because Sam and Dean are waiting on me, babe. They're waiting on me. The first book that I drew out of the jar was The Shadows by Alex North. I read 50% of this book. I gave it a good shot. I truly gave it a good shot. It's just not my vibe, babe. So we're unhauling this. And while I'm at it, I'm also gonna unhaul this. I have read this. I also did not enjoy this. So I feel like this is gonna be a good little pair. Okay. And then I read Blaze by Stephen King. And this one I actually did enjoy. I gave it a 4-star. Therefore, this is staying on my shelves. And then I read The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton, and I also enjoyed this one, though it wasn't as powerful for me as it was for many other people. I still did enjoy this one, and I'm still gonna continue to keep this one on my shelves. I gave it a 4-star. And then I read Blindside by Candy Steiner. This one was just kind of like a middle of the road romance for me. There were some parts that I really enjoyed, and then there were some parts that I was just like, Could have did better. It's fine. Not my cup of tea. Maybe I'm not the right audience for this book. Genuinely, that's what I think. I do recommend it. So that was like one of the things I was like, if I don't recommend the book to other people, it doesn't stay on my shelf. I do recommend this if you do love like romance books. I do think you probably will enjoy this one, just not for me. So, am I unhauling it? I don't know. I'm gonna post it on my Pango Books. If it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, I'll keep it. That's what I'm going with. So I'm gonna let the fate decides that way. And then lastly, I'm cheating here and I'm sorry, but Alone with You in the Ether, I know if I read this, I'm not gonna enjoy it as much as I would if I were to read this when I'm in the mood for it, if that makes sense. So I'm giving myself a pass on here by keeping this, but in return I'm unhauling 2 unread books off my shelf, which are the 2 J.D. Robb books. I am interested in reading this series. However, it is what it is. We're just gonna unhaul them. It's fine. Okay, and that's it. That sums up this Bookshelf Ultimatum. So all in all, I am keeping 4 books that I pulled out of the jar, but I'm also unhauling 4 books. So I feel good about this. It's fine. It's whatever. And that's a wrap for this episode of Bookshelf Ultimatum. Do not forget to enter in the giveaway for the candle and the gift card. Again, all information will be linked down below. You can enter in to win. I believe it ends in 7 days, so next Monday. So make sure you jump on that because the candle smells amazing, and then hello new books, amazing. So that is that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.